Hey gang, Paul with Stud Pack. Welcome back to the channel. In our previous video, you saw me and the gang hang all the drywall in the remodel at my daughter's house. Came out great. Now hanging the drywall is usually the easier part. Taping and mudding it and making it all look flat and awesome sometimes is more difficult for a lot of people. Now 3 years ago, we did a whole drywall and taping video, kind of the basics, and that video's got like 3 million views. There's a ton of good information in there. But 3 years have gone by. The tools and materials we use have changed a little bit. We've changed a little bit. So this is gonna be version 2.0. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Let's get going. All right guys, let's talk tools and materials first. You don't need a whole lot. This is basically all I'm gonna be using today for my first coat of mud and tape. Remember in that previous video, if you watched it, I said spend a little bit more money, get a stainless steel pan and a stainless steel blade. Even the handle is stainless steel and it'll last forever. In fact, these are the same two tools that were in that video. So 6-inch blade and I got my pan. Now down here in the South, in Texas, most people use a pan. A lot of parts of the country will use a hawk. But for a DIYer, I think a pan is the way to go because you're not gonna spill it as much. A hawk has no edges and the mud's gonna fling all over the place and make a big mess. So after I've got my tape embedded with those, I will follow up tomorrow and the next day with an 8 and a 12. Now with the spot right over me on this ceiling, we got a big patch and I got a great big window behind me. I don't want that sunlight raking across my patch so that everybody who comes to the house can see it. So I've got an even wider blade, very flexible. It's gonna help me smooth out that patch so nobody will ever see it. So we're gonna show you this also later. I've got my paper tape on a reel, clips to my belt, and it can just feed off. Now let's talk mud. I got +3 here and I've got AP. In the previous video, we used +3 for everything because it was the middle of COVID and we couldn't find AP anywhere. Those days are over, so we're gonna embed the tape with AP. It's got more glue in it. And then our subsequent coats on top are gonna be +3. It's 25% lighter. So think of the green box as your taping mud and the blue box as your finishing. 25% lighter doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got this full of mud, I can tell a big difference and your shoulder is gonna thank you at the end of the day. Enough about the tools and materials. Let's get this box of AP into a bucket. I'm gonna show you an awesome trick. All right, now we're gonna transfer the mud from the box into a bucket for a couple of reasons. First one is you could work out of the box, but we're gonna put it in the bucket and mix it and wait till you see the difference in the consistency of the mud out of the box and after we mix it. Here's the other problem with working out of a box. You got all this plastic here. And when I lived in Southern California, they used to put like a bread tie on there. They got rid of those. Now it's just kind of folded in there. So if you work out of the bag, you're gonna get all this mud on the side. And it's gonna dry overnight. And when you come back the next day and open it up, it's all gonna flake off the plastic into your fresh mud. And now your project is gonna look terrible because you have all those bits of hard compound in your mud. So we're gonna show you a cool trick, put it in the bucket, keep it pristine so your project looks great. All right, let's get this guy in the bucket. Just fold the bag back, all around. Now it can hold on to the bag. Just like that. Didn't spill a drop. Now I save this, I use it as a trash bucket while I'm working. So before I mix this, let me show you what it would look like if you use the mud right out of the box. You're gonna have all these air bubbles, little pockets in there. We're gonna completely change the way it looks just by mixing it. A little splash of water.
Yep.
Gotta baptize it, too much. And now we mix. Check out the difference. Much creamier. Look at that, guys. You gotta mix it. All right, let's put some in our pan, head back inside, start taping. All right, got my mud ready to go. Always have a bucket of clean water. Got a sponge in there. Always try to stay clean. It's gonna make your finished product a lot better. Got my pan and my knife, and I got my tape holder. I'm right-handed, so I put it on my left side, and I got my tape in there feeding from the bottom. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. I've got the tape fed through there, so you can pull and tear. I typically don't do that because sometimes I need long lengths of tape, and I don't want to spend the time to pull it through there. So I just do it like that, and when I'm ready to cut it, I'll just come up on a wall, boom. And let's talk about the tape. Is there a right side and a wrong side? In my opinion, there is. So I've got this piece off the roll, And you see the crease down the middle? That's for inside corners. So if you take it and pinch it, it'll just bend right there. So this side is the side that goes against the wall. Now that we know which side of the tape we're going to be putting against the wall, let's put some mud in our pan and get started. I'm just going to do this little corner, so I'm not going to really load it up. This gets really heavy, so I'd rather go back to the bucket more times than fill this up and deal with more weight. Let's start right here at shoulder height for Jordan. I'm going to just go sideways across the joint. Really loving the consistency. It's not spilling on me, in other words. And that is ready. Let me put this down. Normally I would do everything for you and then put all the tape up, but let me just show you how this works. Boom. Center it on the joint. Quick pass, cut, and we're done. Leave it alone, leave it alone. Let me catch this one, all these little short guys, the inside corner at the ceiling, and then we're going to show you how we tackle this outside corner. All right guys, quick tip. You'll notice I leave the tape attached most of the time when I'm pulling it out. In other words, I'm going to put it there in my mud. I'm going to do that, skim it, then I'm going to cut it. If I cut it first, watch what happens. All right, I got my piece of tape cut to length. You know what's going to happen, right? It's going to move to the right. So I either got to hold it with my fingers, which is what I hate to do, or I got to hold it with the corner of my pan. So if I take that off, throw it away, come back like that, now it can't move to the right. I can cut it way easier. Leave it attached as long as you can. So I've got my horizontal seams done. Now I'm going to do the vertical. And the idea is that this piece of tape is going to capture and bury that end of the tape so it never has a chance of exposing its ugly head. Now let's talk about how much mud I'm putting on there. Obviously that's not enough, right? This isn't going to stick. That's way too much. So I'm probably about 1/16 of an inch thick, just like that. Enough to grab the tape, but not create a big hump. Let me get up on the ladder, tape that seam. Hey guys, before we go any further with today's project, we want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Xsense. Xsense is a Wi-Fi combination smoke and carbon monoxide detector. This is the SCO7WX, and they have an awesome rating on Amazon, plus great reviews, so we know we can trust them. And we're actually going to install these in Summer and Rad's house. Fire safety at your home is absolutely no joke. Did you know that 1/3 of the deaths in residential fires are because that home did not have a smoke detector, or it had one and the batteries were dead, or it malfunctioned? To us, it's just not worth the risk. You got to have a functioning smoke detector. All right, let's pull out the instructions and install a smoke detector. Xsense makes controlling this detector really simple through their home security app. Once you have the detector paired with the app, you have complete control. You can name it basement, attic, bedroom, whatever you need. You can also check battery life and silence an alarm. No more pulling out ladders. And you can add a subscription that adds automatic fire dispatch when you need it. All right, now that our new Xsense detector is connected to the app, we're simply going to remove our old detector and put up the new one. All right, 3 screws with the factory supplied anchors. You're all set to go. All right, all done. Now we can test the test button, obviously, like we've all done our whole lives, but I think I want to do a real test with some fire and some smoke. Now we're talking. Here we go. Let me get rid of this. You can turn that off on the app, Brad. So now that we gave the Xsense smoke and CO detector an acid test with real smoke and real flames, I can sleep securely knowing that Summer and Rad are well protected in their home against the threats of fire and carbon monoxide. Guys, like you said earlier, if you don't have a smoke detector or you have some and they're not working, check out the Xsense smoke detectors. We'll put a link in the description below. Let's get back to work. Got my first coat of mud and tape on there. All that's left is the corner bead. There's all kind of options. Vinyl, which you can nail on, staple on, glue on. There's metal bead, which you can nail on or clinch on. We prefer paper bead like this with a metal backing. And this is the really wide kind. They make a cheaper version at the home centers, which is really narrow, and the piece of metal is even more narrow. I love this. We're going to cut it to length, show you what it looks like, But we're not gonna put it on yet because I like to do all of those at the end.
Where do you buy something like this?
We got this at the Home Depot, right?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you can get it at the home centers.
Yep, and this is a 10-footer. That way, with our 9-foot ceilings, we don't have any seams. If you buy an 8-footer, now you're gonna have a joint in this, and they're almost impossible to make look nice. I'm just gonna show you what this would look like. We're gonna put mud on the back, and we're gonna embed it into place. It's gonna cover up all those nail holes, well, most of them, just like that. And we're even gonna pull out our laser and make sure they're perfectly straight. On this outside corner, it's gonna follow the wall, but where it's really crucial to me to get them straight is on corners like this, where you've got these two parallel to each other and you want them perfectly straight. But you can already tell how nice that's gonna look, and it covers up all that ugliness. My first coat of mud and tape is on. We did that yesterday. It's the next day. It had all night to dry. Almost all of it is 100% dry, but I got a few spots that did not. Kind of where it was thick. Got this inside corner up here, and then right here at this transition. I know you're gonna be tempted to put your second coat over that, but trust me, if you do it, you're gonna mess up the first coat because the corner of your blade is gonna dig into that soft mud because it's not 100% dry, and you're gonna ruin it. You just gotta have patience and let it get hard. So while we're letting it get hard, we're gonna make some patches. This hole is from a receptacle from the previous owner. They had a big TV bolted on right here, and you can see where they cranked down on the bolts so much, it actually cracked the drywall right across there, so I'm trying to repair that. So we gotta fix this. So I could put a piece of blocking right there, a little piece of drywall, and then 4 pieces of tape. But that's gonna build it up quite a bit, right? With this big window behind me, I might get some sunlight coming in here, and unless I feather that thing way out, you're gonna see the patch, the last thing I want. So I'm gonna do a butterfly patch. I don't need any tape. Let's head over to the butterfly patch station to make it, but first let's take a measurement. I want it to fit pretty loosely, so I'm gonna go 2 by 3.5. Now that 2 by 3.5, I'm gonna add 2 inches to each measurement. I'm at 5.5 right now. Make our first cut. And we want to add 2 to the 2-inch measurement. We're going to go 4. Man, my numbers are wearing off my square. That's how long I've had it. And there's 4. Now here's a secret. Get any combination square like this. I got my Klein, it's a magnetic, but every blade on these is going to be 1 inch wide. I'm going to use that to my advantage. If it's 1 inch wide and I make a cut on the back like that all the way around, when I break these off, and just peel it off the paper, my resulting patch, this piece that remains is going to be 2 by 3.5. Here's our butterfly patch coming in hot. Beautiful. Get the idea? So we're going to back butter this paper flange with mud. We're just going to stick it in there, and it's going to be great. Sometimes this won't fit the first time because the drywall doesn't break cleanly, like see right here. Sometimes you got to cut that off. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to cut through this paper, so be very careful. But this one fits fine. Let me get the mud, do our patch. All right, got some mud, and all I do is kind of put it on the corners. You don't have to worry about being too precise here. I do like to make sure all the paper is covered, just like that. Let me do the other 2 sides, and we'll stick it in there. Now, this is a rectangular patch, obviously. Can you do round ones, octagonal ones? Of course, all day long. They just take a little longer to cut them to shape, right? Especially the round ones. And how big would I do a butterfly patch? I'd probably go up to 6 by 6. Anything bigger than that, you're probably gonna need some blocking. So now that's just gonna get pushed in there. I'm gonna clean my blade, and then I'm gonna use the blade to push it flush with the surrounding drywall. And it's just a matter of pulling out the extra mud. Look how nice that comes out, guys. Doesn't that look great? So easy. Boom, let it dry, come back, second coat. We got 3 more to do, let's knock them out. Butterfly patches are all done. While they dry, let's continue detailing some of these drywall areas. We got this little area right here. This wall is proud of this one. How come? Remember, we had a wall right here separating the kitchen from the dining room, and they padded the 2x4s out with 3/4 inch scrap. And we think they did that to make this wall thicker to accommodate a 4-inch sewer down on the other end for an upstairs toilet. But for whatever reason they did, we got to deal with it. And it's actually going to work to our advantage. We're going to have full height upper cabinets, and they're going to butt up against this edge. And our backsplash can butt up against the edge, and so can our lower cabinets. But we don't want to leave it like this. We want to finish it so it looks nice when you're over here looking this way. And we're going to use a piece of Terway bead. This is left over from the Stud Pack Dream Garage. We used it all over the place. And let me show you how it works. We're going to use adhesive and glue it onto the wall right there. We're going to bring our drywall blade down and put compound right here and feather it nice and flat into our wall. When we're all done, this is why it's called Terway, you pull off this strip and you end up with a beautiful little outside corner. So this flange is going to cover the edge right there. I will probably end up flat taping this to make it all look great.
But it gets covered, so you don't even have to.
It does get covered. I like to cover all the cracks though.
Okay.
Keep those ants out of here.
Right.
That's my main goal. So let's get out the adhesive, start gluing up some Terway bead. And yes, gang, of course, I'm using a laser to set my bead so it's perfectly plumb. That adhesive is really tacky, but if you need a little help holding everything in place, a few staples are your friend. Let's get out the mud. All right, we got our Terway bead set with a laser, but I got this really jagged cut that Jordan did.
What?
Just gonna put my mud in there like that. Come back with a piece of paper tape, straight down, tight against here, feathered out. It's gonna look awesome. We're sealing it, we're making it look better, all the things we love. That's flat taping.
Do you have to do this step? It seems like a step that you might not have to do.
It is gonna get covered, right? But I like doing it. I like making it all look beautiful, giving all this a coat of primer, even though it's behind cabinets. And when you step back and look at it, it looks amazing. No cracks, no voids, nothing like that.
Gives you a good foundation to do good cabinet work, good backsplash and tile work.
I feel like it does, yep. And if you skimp on details like this, to me, what else are you skimping on, huh? What are you skimping on, Jordan?
Nothing, I promise.
How nice that looks. Let that dry. Alrighty guys, the next item on our drywall repair list is all the holes in the ceiling. I have 9 6-inch holes, like 4 4-inch holes, and a couple of rectangles like that. These are from the outdated 6-inch cans we removed. Remember, we're gonna put in modern, updated 4-inch halos right here. So how am I gonna patch that? That's 6 inches in diameter. Am I gonna get 6 pieces of tape and work my way around? Maybe I could get it with 4. But even if you do 4 times 13, that's 52. I am not putting 52 pieces of tape on the ceiling. What am I gonna do? Jordan, throw me the secret weapon. Have you ever seen a 3-foot wide roll of drywall mesh tape? There it is. I bought this years ago in California. I had a special job to do. I found this online and I kept it. I'm so glad I did. It's even sticky on this back side. We're gonna cut it into squares or octagons and patch it with hot mud. All right guys, we have all our little mesh octagons made. Watch how fast this is. I'm gonna go ahead and pre-fill some of these larger holes. I don't wanna rely on all that mud trying to get through the mesh. I want it nice and strong. I'll just go around the perimeter real quick. That's all I need. Fast you can already see how. And I'm pushing pretty hard with my knife. I'm trying to embed it. key it all in so it's nice and strong, no cracks. That's it, guys. Hot mud, I'm gonna let it dry. I could probably come back today and put on my first coat of AP or +3. So you may be asking yourself, Stud Pack, you were so excited about the butterfly patches. Why not use a butterfly patch on the ceiling? It's too heavy, guys. It's gonna sag. This way, it's gonna be nice and flat. Look at that. 10 seconds, I'm done. Only got about 8 more. All right, guys, it's the next day, and as you can see, it's a dreary, rainy afternoon, kind of dark in the house, and we're getting to the point of the project where we need to see what we're doing. So we got in here this morning, cleaned up a lot, but mainly what we did, we ran all our cable in the attic, and we put up a few temporary lights. So now we can really see what we're doing. And this is the most light this house has seen in its existence, and it's gonna get even more lighting when we put in all our 4-inch halo cans. Everything's gonna dimmer, it's gonna be fantastic. Can't wait. Now that we can see what we're doing, let's put up this last piece of corner bead. Remember, we love this metal corner bead with the paper applied tape. You just put some mud on the back and apply it. Now this is cut 1/2 inch shorter than my wall height. That way if the house ever settles, we're on a slab, no big deal, but that's the key. Leave a 1/2 inch gap so if the house does settle, this doesn't crash into your floor and then buckle. I got my mud set up. Let's go put some AP on the back of this corner bead. So here's my technique. I use the edge of my blade a lot, right there. I'm just gonna, here's my technique. I just use the edge of my blade. I use that technique a lot. Then I can just go right down the corner bead, smooth it out. I'm gonna come back to you. Make sure that paper is completely covered. I don't want to risk of any paper that's not covered because then I'll get a bubble, and bubbles are the bane of a drywall guy's existence. Let's finish this side. We'll flip it over to the other side and embed this on the wall. I didn't care yesterday because we didn't clean up, but today everything's nice and clean. I'm gonna try to keep it that way. All right, I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna stand it up. Just lightly embed. That mud's gonna hold it. And again, it's gonna stay. All right, let's grab the laser, get it plumb. That's right, I'm gonna get the laser because it works so much better and it is so easy. Where'd I put it? See how the laser beam's about 1/8 inch back from the corner? I could move it so it's exactly on the corner, but it's easier for me just to keep this reveal all the way up. Let's head on up to the middle. And as you can see, I'm almost flush at the corner, but that's easy. I can just grab this and pull it to me, kind of pinching. And again, it's gonna stay where I leave it. And now my reveal is all the same all the way down. Let's work out the top. Looks like the top can go in towards Jordan a little bit. Then we'll bring the laser over here, get it plumb. Get our knife, feather it out. All right, guys, on remodels, you're always gonna be fighting the old framing. So it's hard to get everything that you do perfect following all that imperfect framing. So check this out. I'm gonna use my 6-inch knife right here. And where I want this edge to be is on this corner, like right there. And then I can fill in between the corner and feather out over here. But on the top, I'm not hitting that corner. I got a bulge right here. So the blade is kind of rocking, see that? So I'm gonna intentionally take my corner bead out of plumb and push it towards Jordan a little bit like that. So now I can feather out. That's gonna be a lot easier than dealing with that hump in the wall right there. So what I'm doing is just kind of I want it plumb, but I also want it so it's gonna make my job as a finisher easier. And I'm loving that. So I'm just taking my blade and I'm pushing down on the paper flange. See what a nice job that does. Not much squeeze out at all. A lot of that mud ends up here and makes a really hard, solid corner. This corner's all done and it looks great. Covers up all the nails, all those rough edges of the drywall when you made your corners. So this one's already done. We did this one last night. It is ready for its next coat. So what are we gonna do? Remember on that one, how I showed you this sticks proud of the drywall? Come in close, Jordan. Use my 6-inch blade. You see that gap right there? It's coming across the camera. That's what we're gonna fill in with mud. And these ends are easy. The end of the walls, they're easy because you can just ride your knife down, use the left and the right corner bead as a screed, and it's gonna come out perfect. On these walls, I'm gonna switch to a 12-inch knife. Again, use the corner bead as a screed, come straight down and blend it all back. Let me grab my mud, knock out these corners. On the other side, I got a little bit wider patch to make, so I'm switching to this blue blade. I love it. Check it out. I'm just riding on the corner bead on the right, and I'm feathering out on the left. Are there any voids like this? I'm not worried about it. I got at least 2 more coats. All right, guys, the end of this wall is all done. It took me a long time. Just remember, 1 pass, move on. That's what the pros do. That's what I'm gonna do. Come back tomorrow, sand it, more mud. So speaking of moving on and saving time, what am I not gonna do? I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this wall right here or the one behind the oven because it completely gets covered up from here to that far corner almost with cabinets, a backsplash, and upper cabinets all the way to the ceiling. So that means I don't even need to texture this ceiling right here where I patched. All that's gonna get covered by our uppers and our crown. Where I do need to spend time is around this window because the cabinets stop 2 inches from the edge of our corner bead. So I'm gonna spend some time here, inside, and all the way up. Well, maybe not all the way up. I think the tile goes all the way up. So we have to see, but definitely gotta spend some time on the inside of the window, which is why we have the laser set up to show you what we did yesterday. This window is not level at all. As you can see, we've got our laser line perfectly level, but the window's not. We got about a 1/4 inch gap there. And of course, we're off the window by the time we get to the left. But we wanted our corner bead to be level. Now, it's not perfect, but it's way better than it would have been if we would have just followed the framing. So it's one of those remodel things where you just kind of have to adapt and get it in between and make it the best you can. So another quick tip for you. On our corner bead here, we put a miter, and this corner didn't want to stay down. So we just took a drywall nail just to pin it. Now the mud is hard, it'll never move. So I'm gonna get my mud, I'm gonna start working around, catch all the walls that I need to, then hit the ceiling. All right, guys, all done with the mud. Let's finish the day by closing the day to open for tomorrow. Let's close to open. What does that mean? I'm gonna get my mud all ready so that I don't have to do anything in the morning and it's not gonna be dirty. So I put the leftover mud back in there with my blade. Now I'm gonna scrape the sides. I've been working this all day so I know it's not dry on the sides. Just like that. And here's the key, guys. This is a tip we showed on our previous drywall video, and I think it got more response than anything else we did. And it's so simple, and it's gonna save your mud. This is my wash water. It's clean on top, right? I'm gonna pour some in here. Just about 1 inch. I just wanna cover. Then I'm gonna get my sponge, and I'm gonna clean the sides. Because if I don't clean it, this is gonna dry overnight, and then tomorrow, it's gonna end up in my mud and I can't use it. So we're gonna completely clean the sides. Boom. Now tomorrow when I'm ready to work, I just pour the water off, remix, and I'm ready to go. I actually have a lid for this that I'm gonna put on there because sometimes if you leave it outside, leaves will go in there, who knows. I'm gonna cover it with a lid. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wait a second, we gotta do an outro for the video.
Outros. I love outros. Guys, that's gonna be a wrap on our video. We had a great time making it. The kitchen remodel is coming along great. Can't wait to show you the next steps. Remember, please subscribe if you're not a subscriber already to our channel. If you want some more Stud Pack, we have a second channel, Stud Pack 2 on YouTube, and you can catch us over on Instagram at Stud Pack Official. So get yourself a 3-foot wide piece of drywall mesh, put it over your like button, do an awesome repair, smash it for us, best thing you can do. Looking for some Stud Pack merch, makes a great holiday gift. bunkerbranding.com. Thanks for all the love and support. We'll see you right back here on our very next Stud Pack video.